Hey there, seekers of spiritual, tangible results.
Welcome to the No Nonsense Zone, where common sense meets the spiritual. I'm Jason Parks.
I'm Emma Romano, your unapologetically real spiritual guides.
We don't sugarcoat, we don't dance around the woo-woo, we just deliver the raw, kick-ass truth.
Join us each episode as we dive deep into the mystical, cut through the bullshit, and show you how to manifest the tangible results you've been craving for.
No fluff, no filters, just two mentors on a mission to elevate your mind, body and soul.
Get ready to transform your life like never before. This is Soul Aligned Results with spirituality. Welcome everybody. This is Emma Romano and
Jason Parks.
Today's a goodie. You ready for this one? This one is the podcast you want to share with all your mates and all your friends and put it out there. It's making mistakes in manifestation. So this is going to be a great one. And we really want your feedback on this as well, because I think we're going to really piss some people off. So
yes, that sounds suitable.
Yeah, we're really about to piss some people off. Okay, go for it, Jason.
All righty. So when we look at, we're not telling any, it's not news to say that people in modern spirituality are obsessed with the law of attraction. They're obsessed with manifestation. And that's understandable because we're living in a consumer culture. So it's a big part of the getting stuff is all about our cultural paradigm. So with it, what we want to talk about today is just want to talk about some of the major mistakes that people make with manifestation and some of the distinctions that are not being put out there that are really vital for your understanding of interacting with this work. So the first one is really the law of attraction is not your friend. It's really important to understand that.
I'm just going to make sure people are you still there? Are you still listening to us?
That's right. Well,
bear with us, peeps. Bear with us, all right? We will explain it. Go.
That's right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about when The Secret came out, so no one much was talking about law of attraction in any big way. And then when that book came out and the little documentary that went with it, said when they came out together, they said that just put it straight into the cultural paradigm. And then suddenly everybody was aware of the law of attraction. Now, the way it was edited made it seem like all you got to do is make a decision and it's yours. Which is not correct. Right? It also,
I wish it was correct.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe not, because some of the shit that goes through our heads, we don't want that turning up.
So true.
Right?
That is so true. Otherwise, I'd have 3 elephants, 2 flamingos, and an alpaca in my very small back garden right now.
Exactly. And childhood bullies would be turning up at your house for no apparent reason.
True that.
So there'd be all that sort of nonsense that goes on with it. But the thing that followed that was there was a number of people out there talking about these principles, and they were talking about it before, but it became sort of more mainstream. And one of the people that really put out probably the most detailed information about law of attraction would be Esther Hicks, the Teachings of Abrahams. Now, I'm not going to give them a rev because I think their stuff is awesome. I think it's incredible stuff. However, it is very awesome in one little corner of the work, and it's not the entirety of the work. And I think that a lot of the way in which people interact with it is that they think that this is the be-all and end-all. And one of them is the statement that the law of attraction is the most powerful law in the universe. Now, it's important to understand. I'm going to give you a metaphor about this. Years ago, I had a friend of mine who was an automotive engineer, and he used to make those street machine vehicles, those absolutely insane, like jet engine cars that have no business being on a road, but everybody wants to drive them. And
gotcha. Yeah.
And he used to make these incredible machines. And I remember one day I went to visit him, and he was saying to me, he said, a guy's going to come and pick this car up today. This guy's going to kill himself. This car that he has insisted, I've tried to talk him out of it 100 times, and he keeps telling me he wants it to these specifications no matter what. And he said, so all right, so I've built it for him, but I've also built it in such a way that I can then fix it when he sees the light. Right. So I was like, okay. So this guy got in the car and I was standing there and it had a car park and his car park had like two entrances. And this guy got in this car and everybody's standing there watching it because they're just like, what's going to happen? And he starts it up and he goes to go out onto the road and he's in the car park and he's fishtailing. He's barely moving, but this car's fishtailing as it's just getting ready to get on the road. Anyway, he sort of teleported from where he was to the road in a
Mm.
split second. And then he put the blinker on and he came in the other driveway and got out of the car and said, yeah, I think maybe can you fix this? Because I'm going to die if I drive up the road. And there's a very important distinction about the law of attraction. Like that car, it's extremely powerful. Does it mean that it's good for you to drive? Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You'll kill yourself if
Yeah.
you try and drive that thing. So a lot of people focus on the law of attraction without any thought to where they're attracting from and what they're actually asking for. So
Mm.
you don't want this big jet engine. What you want is a really good navigation system. If you've got a good navigation system, you'll be fine. If your steering wheel works well and your brakes work well and all of that works well, you'll be safe on the road. Said, but if you've just got an engine that when you put that accelerator down, you go like a rocket, said, you're going to die. Said,
Yeah.
that's how it works. So in energy, when we talk about that energy, it's really important to understand that what the law of attraction is doing is it is maintaining the balance within a vibrational bandwidth, within a range.
Mm-hmm.
So everything within that range of frequencies belongs there, whether we understand it or not. Said its job is to understand what belongs there. Our job is to interact with it. So with a bandwidth, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in any manifestation work is to keep insisting on manifesting at the level where you are.
This is massive.
Yeah, it's a big point, isn't it?
This is the biggest, this is the part of manifesting that I didn't know about. And you taught me this. You
Yeah,
taught me this like 3 years ago when we started working together, and this changed everything for me.
yeah, yeah, it's huge. So it's when you manifest, you are manifesting within the bandwidth that you exist in. So the very ideas that come to you, see, in every bandwidth, there's like 5 things that are so stable you could use them as diagnostic tools.
Mm-hmm.
So there's knowledge that's unique to those frequencies.
Yeah.
There's manifestation. So what that means is there's stuff that turns up. And that's not just physical stuff, that's interactions, it's also the way in which it turns up and the quality that turns up.
Mm-hmm.
So within certain bandwidths, you've got a very limited range of quality. You get outside of that bandwidth into a different bandwidth, and the whole quality is different.
Mm.
And also, most importantly, the speed and the ease that it manifests at is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, that's the second one. The third one is that there's soul groups. So there's people that are in those bandwidths that belong there. They live there, like you. And everybody functions together really well. As soon as a person starts to shift their frequency, you get the crab bucket effect. So you start to lift up, and then everybody starts to pull you back down because they want you to stay in your range. They want you to stay where everything feels right. And it's that bandwidth is what the right feeling is. So that's sort of an inertia that you have to break through, a gravity that you have to break through.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth thing is that there's karmic processes. So there's certain spiritual lessons that can only be accessed at certain bandwidths and also can be accessed in certain ways within those bandwidths. The higher you are in that range, the more ease, the more grace, the more kindness that's part of it. And the last one, of course, is opportunities and problems, which are the same thing.
Yes.
So in the lowest frequency, we see it as a problem. In its highest frequency, we see it as opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And those 5 aspects are really stable in every range. So every frequency range, of which there are essentially countless ranges, they're they're always present. So you can use them like a diagnostic tool. You can say, okay, what's happening around me right now? And Emma, you know this. We talk about this all the time. Is that you don't how you feel about something, whilst it's not as important as you observe what is tangibly turning up for you.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's the real indicator of what's going on. That's the most stable feedback that you're going to get because your pain body, your previous conditioning and intergenerational trauma and all that sort of stuff rolled into a ball,
Mm-hmm.
said that is manipulating the way you think all the time. So it will manipulate it. It'll manipulate it by making things seem worse than they are or making things seem better than they are.
And you know what? I think it's really dangerous, the one where it goes, it's better. I tell you why. Because just for the folks at home, I just literally was on a call with a client. And at the beginning of the call, she's like, yes, I've got the best relationship. Oh my God, me and my husband get along so well. I went, right, prove it.
Mm.
And she went, what? I went, what are the results of this really great relationship? Because this is fantastic. Now prove it. Show me the results where the relationship is great. She said, well, actually, we haven't had sex for 4 years. And I went, okay. She said, we don't really talk. I went, right. So how is the relationship really? Because we can't work with a lie.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say, show me the results. Let's work with the results of what's showing up for your life rather than what you think is showing up for your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the pain body's a trickster.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a magician, right? It's a little magician. It's a trickster. Just when you think, even when things are going shit and you go prove it.
Yeah.
Do you have a house? Yeah, I have a house. Do you have somewhere to sleep? Yeah, I have somewhere. So it's not that shit then, is it? Oh,
right.
actually, no, it's not. It's not that shit. Well, there you go. Now let's work with the results.
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. That was just thought that would help our folks listening.
It's really important. It's
Mm,
really
yes.
important. So with those tangible results, when you're observing tangible results, said you've got to. It sort of leads us to the next point, but I'll come back to it in a second because it's not about all manifestation is about who we are, not about what we want. So that's what
Yes.
really dictates it.
Yes.
So within those bandwidths, when we're observing what's turning up and most importantly, how it's turning up, that it gives you a really clear indicator about where you are. And where you are is because of who you are. It's really important. So if you want to really up your manifestation game, you need to be working on yourself. You need to be lifting your zista in a consistent way.
Can you just repeat that? Sorry, Jay, because you just froze a little bit. Can you just repeat that last bit? You need to what?
You need to, if you want to up your manifestation game, you need to be working on the frequency where you're living at.
Yes.
So you need to be raising your vibration and making it stable, which is really important. So one of the metaphors I used to use about process is like fishing. So your intention, you're throwing that desire into the universe and the universe is responding to it and sending it back. Said that is like casting a fishing line.
Mm-hmm.
So if my fishing line's 50 foot long, then that's as far as I'm going to be able to cast. So if I'm casting way up, if I'm 150 feet up the bank, I'm not going to catch many fish because I'm still 100 feet away from the water.
Yeah.
So if I get closer, I'm standing on the edge of the lake, well, I'm going to be able to get a maximum of 50 feet out into the lake. If I go out onto a jetty, maybe I can get 80 feet out into the lake. But if I get into a boat and I go out in the middle of the lake, I can get the lot of it.
Yeah.
I can reach anywhere. So it's not really important about the fishing line. The fishing line doesn't really matter. It's not dictating your success. What's dictating your success is where you stand when you cast. So that is the bottom of your range. That's the tangible results. That's what's at the bottom of your range. So you need to be studying those things with a microscope. If, yeah, if you start pushing shit uphill, then that's telling you that the frequency's lower. If everything is going along smoothly and now it's really hard work, it means the frequency's lower. Now, that could be because you're clearing something in your system. And as it's working through, the energy's agitating, it's lowering your frequency a little bit. So it could be something that's happening right now, and half an hour from now it could be finished. But if it's starting to become stable, then that's telling you that you are those 5 aspects of the bandwidth. You're not in alignment with what you want, which kind of leads us to the second issue, which is if you are putting out your wish list, sorry, not wish list, but if you're putting out your desires for manifestation, and desires are a good thing. This is really important. It gets a bad rap, but that's because the English language isn't used very well around it. So we look at it and we say that a desire is a problem, because once you start to create a problem, then you have desire, you have attachment, you have all these things. It's like, yeah, there's a truth to that. But we don't take the time to understand what is a desire of our soul and what is a craving of our pain body.
That's important.
Yeah. So a craving is a compulsion that we feel we need in order to satisfy a past trauma or conditioned response. So it's that idea. Like, I remember, because we've talked a bit about learning, you and I, and our experiences of learning over time in the podcast. Now, we both love learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
And it's getting to, and I think a lot of people who love learning, but who don't fit in the box for the academic system, they struggle at school. They really struggle. Yeah. Yeah, that's me too.
Definitely me. And I would never think in my entire life would I have said I love learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Being at school, I mean, no way. Yeah, I love learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we do that, one of the big things about it is that often, I know my experience with it was, I really got into self-education. After a while, I went through the whole trauma thing and didn't think, I thought I was too stupid to learn anything for a long time. And then I got out of that. And as I started to work my way out, it was like, oh, well, I can learn anything because I'm learning how to learn.
Yes.
So because I'm learning how to learn, it's like, oh, what do I want to learn? So when I first started to draw up what I wanted to learn, I realized I created this curriculum on one level that I kept failing at. I could not get it right. It was a mess. And it was so much pressure because it was reinforcing old beliefs that I wasn't smart, I wasn't able to do this, wasn't able to do anything else. But then I got my head around it and realized that probably 80% of the stuff on this list is what I think I'm supposed to know instead of what I want to know. So when I rewrote it and said, this is what I want to know, it was a breeze. It said, it's just away you go, because it was in alignment with who I am. So
with manifestation, I think there's like a bit of a shortcut to how to know where you're manifesting from. You'll know you're manifesting from lack if you say the word please.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So please means I don't have it. Can I means I don't have it. Will you give to me means I don't have it, which means I'm coming from lack. And when you come from lack, you'll get more lack. So we have to catch ourselves in what we think, what we feel, what we say, and what we do. So I'll give people an example. If you really can't afford something right now, don't ever say you can't afford it, and don't feel the lack of not being able to afford it. Feel an excitement within your body that you're excited for when it lands in your lap.
Yeah.
right? You're excited for that moment. So you say something, you do something, you think something, and you feel something of a higher frequency, of a higher feeling, a higher word. So instead of saying, oh, I can't afford it, just say, oh, I'm excited to get that. I'm excited for that landing in my lap. Ooh. And then you've got to sit there and go, well, if I don't have it now, it's because of something I'm thinking, feeling, saying, and doing.
Yeah.
So that's where you've got to self-evaluate and go, well, what am I saying? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And what am I doing?
Yeah.
That's saying that I can't have that I can't afford that's not mine already.
Yeah, that's right. You're looking at the problem side of it and you're not looking at the solution side of it.
That's it. The solution is always there. The solution to every problem that we have and every solution we all have is given to us as a diagnostic tool to everything that's going on around us. So if you want to go on a trip to Egypt and you can't afford it, it's because there's something going on within you going, I can't afford that trip to Egypt.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you're thinking it, you're feeling it, you're saying it out loud, and you're doing it. And it may not be about Egypt. It could be, oh, I want to get my hair done. Oh, I can't afford that this week. Okay. Because universe doesn't, another thing about our unconscious mind and universe, it's all connected, is if we're talking shit about somebody else or something else, it also thinks we're talking shit about us. It can't decipher whether we're talking about us or somebody else. So even if people are watching the Kardashians go, oh, look at them with their freaking money, they're full of bullshit. Universe goes, all right, but we won't give you any because we don't want you to feel like bullshit.
That's right. Yeah, you're rejecting them. Why?
Yeah, if you're rejecting them, we'll reject you because we don't want you to feel any worse than you feel about yourself now, and you're going to. So we've got to be hyper aware of what we're feeling. If we've got jealousy around a friend or somebody else doing better, oh, look, they got a really nice car, we don't have it. You don't have it? Okay, we'll manifest more, you don't have it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're feeling the lack. Jealousy is, I can't get it, they can only get it. Envy is, I can't even create it, I have to take it from them.
Yeah.
So we really need to watch. We need to be hyper aware and look at the solution to the way we think, feel, speak, and what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a fifth one on the end of that as well, but you can't get there until those are in order. So these are in order of mass, because it's all about mass. For something to manifest, it requires a lot of mass. If you are putting something out on a conceptual level, then the universe will increase the concept. So the easiest way to do that is like a vision board, right? So if you're thinking about an idea about, oh, I want to have a new home. Well, what will happen is the whole system will kick into gear at the level of thought, because you're just doing it on a conceptual level. So if you just keep thinking about it, you'll notice that your thoughts will become more expansive. You'll get a lot more information coming in, and you'll be able to think about it a lot more. It's growing, perpetual increase. It is growing. Now, if you don't do anything physical, the universe does not get the message that it needs to physically materialize. It thinks it's manifesting it for you because you've said, I just want it as an idea. So it's giving you the idea. Yeah, it's fleshing out the idea. There is the universe doesn't work on this assumption. It doesn't work on any assumptions. It's very literal. If you say,
thank God, because I mean, I know women, I think, we get 6,000 intrusive thoughts a day, women. Could you imagine manifesting 6,000 different things a day? And I mean, the shit that goes on in my head, I don't want half of it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Scary crap. So yeah, we have to give it density. We have to give it action.
Yeah, that's right. And it is very much in order of mass. What we think about it, like what we think about it will get the ball rolling. How we feel about it is more mass. Because now it's happening hormonally in our body. So there's a change in vibrational frequency. You can think about it, there's very little change. So the moment that you start to feel in alignment with that thought, suddenly your vibrational pitch is changing.
Mhm.
So therefore, you're moving in the bandwidth. What you say about it, now what you're doing is you're enlisting other people. The moment those words leave your mouth, you are now putting it into the world and the world is responding back to it. So
Mhm.
more mass again. When you act in alignment with it, so now you've got the ball rolling because you're really getting a lot of mass. But all of those together, when all of those are in alignment, is creating what we call a praxis. So when you create a praxis, what happens is it gives you the fifth one, which is the tone. And the tone is the embodiment. So it's the who you are in alignment with what you say, what you think, what you say, what you think, what you feel, and what you do. So when they're all in alignment, that is who you are. And the vibrational pitch that you are holding in that state, that's what's really manifesting quickly. Because there's more mass in that than in all the others combined. So what it does is it sort of brings us to the next point, which is um, when people put together like a vision board. Now, vision boards are great. I'm not going to crap on
Vision
those.
boards are brilliant if they're used properly.
Like everything, you know,
Exactly.
hammers are great. So,
If
but you
you
can't.
pick it up and use it.
But yeah, for hammering
For a
nails,
nail, not
that's
someone's head.
yeah, trying to make your sandwich is not good, right? So it's it's um uh, when we work with a vision board, we really have to understand that what we're doing is that it's not a wish list. And I think this is where a lot of this secret and all this sort of stuff has really messed with people's perception of it. They think it's a wish list. It's like, okay, I'm just going to cut out nice pictures and stick them on a board and I'm going to look at them every day, and that's going to somehow miraculously turn up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible. It's possible.
Well, if you
But
give it mass.
yeah, but usually where that happens occasionally, and it is occasionally, is that someone will turn around and they will go, oh, I put this up there and then I won the lottery. Well, you bought a ticket, right? So you took action.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
it's not
you
like,
got to give it mass.
yeah, it's not like somebody just gave you money. I have seen that happen. I had a client I dealt with one time. He said he started doing law of attraction work and he sat down, he went, I want $1 million. And he went to bed and the next day he got up and he's checking his bank balance and he had over $1 million in his bank account. He was like, oh my God, what's happening? Right. And he had a freak out, which was good because it does happen. And people run screaming with $1 million thinking the universe loves me, only to find out, like this guy found out in the afternoon, because he rang his bank and said, what's going on? They went, oh, there was a bank error. Thank you for notifying us. So they took the $1 million back out, all good. Said, I saw a few weeks ago, there was a guy had that happen to him. He went on a spending spree that day, right? Right. Unsurprisingly, he's off to jail now, right?
Wow.
Because it's theft. It's theft. It's not his money.
Yeah.
So what happens is it can happen, but it's really a karmic lesson. So where that happens, the karmic potential has been set up, and that's a bandwidth thing, you know. So because for that was really a question about him learning about how to really manifest properly. And it happened to him a couple of times, different things like that. Was really quite crazy, the level that this guy could, the speed and the level that he was manifesting on. Because the first time he did it was $1 million. The next one was 10 million, right? And
My God,
and
what?
it was crazy. But he never got to keep any of it because the lesson he had to learn was about being in alignment ethically with your manifestation.
Yeah, that's so important. You need to repeat that. It's ethically in alignment.
Exactly right. So that was his karmic lesson. Now, you got to give this guy credit. He learned it. He wasn't
Yeah.
stupid. He was a lawyer. So he did understand that there's like a law.
Smart guy.
Right?
I
So
wouldn't have been smart. I would have spent that.
it's just wham, away it went. So when we're using things like the vision board or any of those tools, affirmations, anything, what we're doing is we're setting up a parameter. We're putting in our order to the universe, but it is not a wish list. It is an IOU. It is a promissory note. You're writing a check, right? So when you say to the universe, okay, I want to look like this, I want to have this quality of relationship, I want to do that, the universe is like, no worries at all. This is what it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's manifesting it for you, undeniably, every time. That's the law of attraction, right? It is manifesting it because once you put those parameters in place, you're saying, I exist in this range. And the
Yeah.
universe is saying, yeah, it exists in this range as well. So it goes together, not a problem. That can be
Yeah.
made into a reality. But it is an IOU. And it brings us probably the most important point is that people get caught up, they do nothing, and then wonder why it doesn't show up. Or what they do is they do busy work. So they run around doing a lot of things, but nothing that's actually in alignment with what they're trying to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
So probably 90% of what you're doing, just throwing out random statistics now, right?
We just make them up as we go.
Like
Make
all
them
statistics. Yeah. Is that beautiful old saying? It's like there's three kinds of terrible lies. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. Right?
Yeah.
So most of it, let's just say most of what you're going to be doing is working on yourself.
Yes.
It's not going to be working on getting what you want because it's not how manifestation works. Manifestation doesn't take something from this bandwidth and put it in this bandwidth.
Hang on. So for those listening, it's not going to put something from a higher bandwidth into a lower bandwidth.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I did it with my hands.
Yeah, you did with your hand.
Easy, smart. Yeah.
Right.
So
A bandwidth can be simple as a radio station like 89.9 I'm messed up FM compared to 101.1 I'm freaking fabulous FM. You can't be listening to the music on 101.1 freaking fabulous FM if you're sitting down on 89.FM.
Yeah.
That's what the bandwidth is. Yeah.
Exactly right. So most of your work is about you going to where it lives.
Yes.
Not it coming to where you live.
Yes, it cannot.
No. And that will be almost all of your problems with manifestation. If something's not manifesting, it's because you are not where it lives.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to go on holidays to Fiji, I have to go to Fiji. Fiji doesn't come to me.
That's
right.
Not
how it works.
Yes.
So this is the same with all manifestation. So when you're working, it's important that your work is in alignment with what you want. Otherwise, any action that you take, like if you turn around and you say, all right, I want to lose weight. Awesome. What do I want to manifest? I want to manifest this ideal weight for me. This is what I think it is. This is what I want to look like. It's how I want to feel. This is what I want to do. No worries. Well, if you go for a walk every day and you walk enough to burn enough calories that you could burn maybe 150 calories from your walk, okay, but you're consuming more than that, then you are not going to lose weight.
Nope.
It said you're taking action, but it's not in alignment. So the basic rule there is that you have to outburn what you consume. Until you do that, the body just works for that all the time. It's like, energy in, energy out. If you have more energy coming in than energy out, you are not going to lose weight because it's not how it works. And you can have all the vision boards and you can have all the affirmations. You can be walking to the mailbox and back every day saying, I'm beautiful, I'm thin, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I feel fabulous. And you can feel that, but it's not going to it'll manifest a bit, but it's only going to manifest in the amount of mass that you're giving it.
Yeah.
It's important to understand, like I said at the beginning, law of attraction is not your friend, but the law of perpetual increase is. So
yes, and I love law of perpetual increase.
Yeah.
It's compounding.
It's compounding. Everything in nature, including you, is growing. Everything is becoming more of itself. Now, if I plant a seed in the ground by my action, so my thoughts, my feelings, my speech, and my action, and if I plant that in the ground, and I plant that with health, and I start moving in alignment and I start working with the principles, then what's going to happen is it's going to grow, and it's going to grow exponentially. It's going to grow in ways I never imagined because the law is interacting with me. I've kicked it off. but it's running. So I'm going to start getting all these other things turn up that I never thought would happen. The same way as that if I am in alignment with neglect, then it will increase. So this is happening all the time. This is not like, oh, I need to kick that off. No, you don't kick it off. You just point it. It's happening all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You make decisions about what you want it to manifest into by where you put the mass, if that makes sense.
What people I think don't understand is that we don't have to go into manifestation. We're consistently manifesting anyway. And
that's right.
whatever you have in your life, look around you, you've manifested it. Now, some of it will be really good because you were in that bandwidth of feeling, thinking, doing good.
Yep.
And some of it's going to be really crap because you were in the bandwidth of thinking, feeling, doing crap.
Yeah.
And I give an example. Some people are going to say, but what about death? Death is horrible. Depends what bandwidth you're in.
Exactly right.
Because if you're in abandonment bandwidth, if you're in shame bandwidth, if you're in like guilt and pain bandwidth, it's horrible. But if you're in a bandwidth of joy, love, connection, you just know that that person is forever alive, just their meat suit died.
Yeah, it's a transformation.
It's a transformation. We can't avoid it, and it's the same thing, but just at a different outlook. That's all it is. It's that how do you want to look at it at a different bandwidth? And if we want better, we have to be better towards ourselves first.
Yeah.
That's the first thing of like anything of law of attraction. You are attracting how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's number one. So if you're getting shit, it's because you're thinking shit about yourself. You're feeling shit. You're doing shit towards yourself. You can't sit there and go, oh, I want this beautiful relationship. I want money. I want this and I want that. And you're sitting there eating 10 donuts a day. Because if you're eating 10 donuts a day, it's telling the universe that you're not really loving yourself.
Yeah.
So they're only going to give you more of that bandwidth. That's the beauty of it. There's no trick to it. It just is. If you're in the bandwidth of shit, you're going to manifest shit. If you're in the bandwidth of awesomeness, you're going to manifest awesomeness. Simple as that.
It is that simple.
It's that simple. And people go, oh, but there must be a different trick to it. No, be good to yourself and the universe will give you back to you.
Yeah.
You be shit to yourself, the universe will give you shit.
Yeah. And that's law of attraction.
That's law of attraction. You're attracting what your relationship is with yourself. It's not your relationship with money. It's not your relationship with other people. You will get more of your relationship with yourself.
Exactly. Perpetual increase is a different perspective on how energy works. So perpetual increase, like we said before, is that everything is becoming more of itself. Yes. So you can start off and you can go, all right, I want to be thin and I want to be, let's say, I want to lose weight or I want to gain weight. I want to get to an ideal weight where I feel healthy and I am enjoying my life, where I can put clothes on and feel good about wearing them, so I can go out and feel confident in myself. So that's what I want, because everything's an experience. A lot of manifestation is built around physical things and it's sold as physical things. It's like, yeah, if you want to be successful, you need to drive a Ferrari, and it's that whole alpha model, it's like, you need to look like this, you need to wear these clothes, you need to have this amount of money, you have to drive this kind of car, you have to live in this kind of house, in this kind of place. And if you're not doing that, then you are unsuccessful.
That's not true.
That's bullshit. That's complete
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Everybody's here to contribute to a much bigger picture.
Yeah.
And everyone's got their own thing. So for some people, it's doing that. And that's what they're there to do. And that's fine. But that doesn't mean that that's for you. And you can pursue it. It's a bit like I was talking about education. If you're pursuing an outside model of what you think you should be doing, you're not creating what you should be creating.
Yeah.
And the universe is lined up from before you were born to set you up. That's your soul contract, to set you up with everything you need to create what you're here to do.
Yeah.
And that will give you joy. All those other things won't give you joy. So many people get caught in that idea. And there's a great metaphor of it where people say that, I climbed the ladder of success to find it was against the wrong wall. No.
Ooh.
So we've done that. I've experienced that. So
I've experienced that a lot.
exactly, you do it, you're in there, you're doing everything right, except for the fact it's not what you want.
Yeah, it's just not exactly.
Yeah,
I got a great example of that. I always thought I wanted to work in advertising.
Yeah.
And I got this job in advertising, and my uncle's amazing, right? So he helped me get this job in advertising. We literally sent this is back in 1989 and 1990 it was. And my uncle and we wrote these letters, typed up letters and posted them to every single place in freaking Melbourne. And I finally got a job. I lasted a year. I freaking hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. And all I thought was you needed a country road outfit, like you need a country road suit. I got the country road suit. I needed the shoes. I needed the bag. I needed the car, got all of it, working in advertising, got the job, got all of it. I was so miserable. And then on a weekend, I would coach tennis.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jobs ever.
That's it, isn't it?
In trackies,
Yeah.
Jason, we're going to have to wrap up this beautiful, amazing podcast. It has been sensational. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I think this is one that people are going to want to listen to a few times.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm going to give everyone a top tip if you want this top tip. I get a piece of paper and I fold it in half and I put a big line down the middle. And on the right-hand side, I write down creation.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm creating. So it could be anything. It could be a fitter body. It could be better relationship with my husband. It could be anything, right? It could be a trip to Greece, whatever. And on the left-hand side, it's what I have to release.
Yeah.
Because on the left-hand side is what I'm invisibly manifesting. This is why I don't already have what I've got on the right. Otherwise, I'd already have it.
Yeah.
So on the left, I just go, what am I releasing? So what do I have to break up with? Because it's all an identity, because whatever you're creating is an identity. So if I'm stepping into this, I have to break up with that. And it could literally be if I want to have more confidence walking in the clothes I've got, I have to look at the clothes I've got in my wardrobe and go, which ones do I love? Which ones do I not like? Which ones don't I feel confident in? Chuck them out. It could be as easy as that. I have to cull them. What do you have to cull? What do you have to get rid of? What do I need to release so I can step in and give this more mass of the desire? Anyway, I hope that helps you. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this. Get in contact with us. It was a doozy. You might want to share this one. I'm going to upset a few people. But we will see you next podcast. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.